We've been friends for a minute.
Yeah.
And I will do a disclaimer before we kick things off. We are in a random back room in a hotel where a conference is being held, and it's not a private room. There's people everywhere. There's dishes in the back. There's things happening. So you know what? Hopefully you can bear with us here. But I think this audio is pretty crispy.
I think so. I think we should be okay.
I think we should be okay. Ian.
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do? Tell me your life story right now.
Wow, the whole life story?
Everything. I'm just going to go get some food.
Okay, and I'll be here.
Exactly.
That'll be good. Well, what I'm best known for, you could say, is I co-founded a channel called Life Noggin, which is an animated education channel. Am I looking at you or the camera?
You can look at me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We just hit 2.4 million.
2.4 million.
Crazy. Yeah, we've been going for about 4 years, and we do big hypothetical questions like, what if the Earth doubled in size, or what if all the cats died? Or we do...
You did a what? Okay,
yeah,
well, can you tell me real quick what would happen if all the cats died?
We'd be overrun with a lot of like rats and things like that. New York would be worse with rats.
Interesting.
They're actually very vital to the ecosystem.
Wow.
Yeah.
And see, that sounds like my worst nightmare because I love cats and hate rats.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's what balances that out... Good job, cats. I approve. Job. Yeah, that's interesting.
Cats.
So if you want to see the animated version of that, head over to Life Noggin.
So
when did Life Noggin start?
It started 4 years ago in July. I co-founded it with my friend Pat. He's like the voice, so he's Blocko every time I'm like from Life Noggin. They're like, you're not the voice. I'm like, no, that's the other guy. It's Pat.
He's not Blocko.
I'm not Blocko. But yeah, we started it together. He came up with the initial idea, and then I kind of like jumped on to produce. So he's on the creative side and I'm on the production side of things.
Very cool. And what's so cool about Life Noggin, you see these channels with 2 million subscribers, this certain following, and you see certain videos pop off and you don't fully understand what it took to get to that point, right? And so 4 years ago, wow, I didn't know that it started 4 years ago.
It was a slow build.
Yeah.
Like I'd say the first year it took us, I mean, we had some help because I'd been making videos since 2008 on YouTube. So I kind of like knew some friends and could be like, hey, I'm working on a new thing. Will you help like promote it? But it took us like a year and a half to get 100,000 and then just snowballed. And after we hit 100,000, a year later, we were at 1 million. And then a year after that, we were at 2, and now we're 2.4. So yeah, it's just been this gigantic snowball effect. Yeah,
which is so cool. So bring me back to like, how did you get into this YouTube world? Because for a little bit of context for the peeps, well, first of all, where did we meet actually?
We like in person, or where did we met on? Well,
we met on Twitter.
We met on Twitter. Yeah. Because Aaron, who we made the documentary with, the director, he had found you from, I think, your like travel vlogs that you were doing when you went to Iceland.
And for context, we did a documentary called Internet Kids. It was about VidCon. We did it with our friend Aaron.
Yeah. So he found you and DM'd it to me and was like, wow, her stuff is amazing. We got to like work with her on this. And it was as we were just figuring out like what we wanted to do and initial ideas. And then I think that was like probably 4 to 6 months before your channel really blew up. Okay. So we had like messaged you. Oh, that's
interesting. So that was that really before?
Yeah. Because I remember like talking to Aaron and we're like, wow, she's like really blew up now. I hope she's still gonna like be our DP on this.
Oh, I do remember that because I confirmed before.
Nothing against you. We're just like, wow, she's like
funny.
Yeah, that was great.
You're like, hey, but I stuck around.
You did, and you killed it. That was such a fun shoot. It was because it was your first VidCon.
Yeah. Which is such an interesting experience.
Right. And then we were also running around with cameras, shooting, and like we had trying to bank interviews and get B-roll. Mixed with like we had all access passes to shoot the documentary,
which I mean it's like if that's your first VidCon, that's how you do it, right? Having those full access passes, being able to go backstage and like get interviews with YouTubers and stuff. So
and you were hard on that hustle. I remember you were hard on the hustle game.
Always people. And so we did that and then premiered at Buffer Festival.
That was so fun.
So that was a lot of fun. But back to you. When did you enter the YouTube scene? And are we... Okay, I remember freaking out about your age because I thought you were older than me, but you're actually younger than me, right? You're 23?
22. I'm turning 23 next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
22. Yeah, because I remember every time I ask you that, it's like younger than expected.
Yeah. And actually, I don't think a lot of people know that because I always get that reaction of like, oh, wow.
He's 22.
Yeah.
And you're crushing it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me when it all began. 2008?
I was making videos like in the I was thinking this the car ride over. I was making videos like with neighborhood friends. Like we would all get together and like I would have a camera and we would all like film little skits. And that was like right as YouTube was getting started, but I didn't know about it. And it's actually funny. My mom, to her credit, read an article on the internet and was like, "Have you heard of YouTube?" And I was like,
shout out to Mama Dokie.
I don't like. She sends me articles all the time. Like I'm not gonna read this. And then I actually looked at it. I was like, "Wow, this is really cool." And that's when that started. So we were posting stuff back then, and I was eventually just like started doing it on my own.
Yeah.
Making like skits and parodies and like awful videos.
We all think that we're comedic geniuses.
Yes.
And it all starts with the parodies or the rap music videos.
Parody music videos.
Oh, yeah. YouTube was a simpler time back then.
It really was.
Except, honestly, I thought it took more skill to do that stuff. Because you had to be a music producer. You had to be a filmmaker.
To be fair, you didn't have to be a good music producer.
That's true.
You had to have GarageBand.
I mean, that bar was set pretty high though.
Yeah. That's really true.
So you started that.
So I was doing that, and then I would say that the 4 years I was doing that, I got 1,000 subscribers in 4 years. So it wasn't a fast growing thing, but I met like the community of people who were also doing this. And I think like our documentary kind of touched on like, I was kind of isolated in a small town, and through YouTube I met a bunch of other people isolated in small towns, and we're like, oh wow, we all like the same thing, same kind of ideas, like VidCon or conventions where it's like all these people like the same thing. So through that I like ended up just meeting a bunch of people, and going to VidCon. When I was 18, I got out of high school and I landed a job at Discovery Channel, their digital networks, as an associate producer. So I was 18. So I was working with like 35-year-olds that had the same job. So at that point,
were you not even thinking about college? You were just like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be. All right.
I had such little interest in school and high school starting out that like as soon as I got my diploma, I was like,
it wasn't even an option.
Yeah, I was like working at a photo studio at the time and was like desperate to get out of where I was living in Arizona. So I was like, cool.
So how did the Discovery job come about? Because I don't think it's normal for 18-year-olds to just like button up a suit and tie and like walk into Discovery, like here for my interview.
Hello. Yeah. No, I had a friend who had started working there, who I met online a couple years before me. So he like kind of like pitched me like, oh, you should hire this person. I met one of their producers at VidCon, and I was like, hi, I want to work for you guys. And it's how it worked out was like they didn't really want to take a chance on an 18-year-old. Yeah. But it was the kind of thing they're like, if you can get out here, like you'll be like a freelancer.
Where's out here?
We'll give
LA?
it a test. San Francisco. Okay. Yeah, we'll give it a test. If we like you, we'll keep you. If not, like we tried it. So I got that on a Wednesday, moved to San Francisco on a Friday, and then started that following Monday.
From Arizona?
From Arizona, yeah.
Wow.
And San Francisco is such a difficult city to live in.
How did you were a freelancer to start off, so they probably weren't paying you a lot. How did you live in San Francisco? Because that's worse than New York.
Yeah.
That's the only place that's literally worse than New York.
Yeah. I had 2 suitcases, and So I couldn't sign a lease because I didn't have credit because I was 18 years old, never had a credit card before. And
I didn't know what credit was when I was 18.
Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah. And I like couldn't like places went so fast in San Francisco, people would come in and like pay the entire year's rent because they just got their seed funding for their tech company. And so it was like impossible to get a lease. So it was cheaper to do short-term Airbnbs. So I would Airbnb somewhere for like 2 or 3 weeks for like 9 months.
Kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That would be such a stressful life.
It was. It really was.
That's the epitome of just getting there.
Yeah.
A company was like, yo, if you can make it happen, then do it. So what was your job as that producer role? So
I was an associate producer. I had a great boss who had like worked for Google freelancing and been Discovery for years and taught me a lot. And I was on their YouTube side of things. So I worked on like shows like Test Tube, D News, Shots of Awe with Jason Silva. And these were all like originals that Discovery was producing just for YouTube.
Interesting.
So I fit really well because I've been doing it for 4 years.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was just like coordinating that, helping with their marketing, uploading the videos, being like, hi, this is what the internet will think of this, and don't do this because no one on the internet says that anymore. And I was
you
kind of
were
like,
the young hip kid, probably in his hipster clothing and hipster
Yeah.
glasses. I was like, oh, excuse me, 60-year-old white man.
yeah.
This is really what you should do.
I did do a presentation once on like what Snapchat was, because they were like, it was like, granted, it was a year after Snapchat had launched, and I was like, so it's kind of like Instagram, except it goes away, and it was like the most basic thing ever.
Why would they want it to go away?
Yeah.
And like, oh.
Yeah.
That
It was
is
great.
so funny. Okay, so if you're an old person in a company, what 18-year-old can you hire today?
Seriously.
So, I mean, how was your experience there?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was really.
How long were you there?
I was there a year and a half. And then
I can't believe you did the Airbnb thing for like 9
I
months.
moved. By the way, I've never talked about this on the internet.
Oh my gosh.
Ever. Like, this is the only.
That's the definition of the hustle.
Yeah. I think I moved 13 times in 9 months.
Wow.
And I would like come back from
I'm
like.
sure that wasn't cheap either. I mean, like.
It was somehow cheaper than getting a lease.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did that for a year and a half, which was great. Really fun experience. Learned a lot about just like how YouTube worked from looking at all these different channels. And I was growing Life Noggin at the same time on nights and weekends and after work.
Was Pat in San Francisco during that time?
No, Pat was in New York. Yeah.
Wow.
So
you were literally doing Life Noggin from opposite coasts.
Yep.
What was that process like?
So he was like directing the creative, I was directing the production, and we had freelance animators and writers. So we were just we were like producing, we were putting the pieces together. It was definitely difficult. At the time we were doing 4 animated videos a month, which was a lot. Now we're doing 8 because we're all in like the same place together. It was really difficult. We missed a lot of weeks, but when we finally found it, we like uploaded every Monday for like 2 years, and that's when our momentum built.
Yeah. Do you think that rhythm is really what helps? And I've been trying to get on a schedule for a while, and then the past year I was like, I just can't do it. I'm just never going to tell anyone when I'm going to upload
and
ever
that's
in my life.
strategy now. There's like 2. There's the YouTube strategy where they're like upload every day consistently, or upload 3 times a week consistently, make sure they know. Or there's like this like drop a video and like odd one out.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know if you've heard of that channel, but it's
that's like a channel?
Odd One's Out? Yeah. It's like it's a huge animation channel. Every video hits like 20 million views. And there's no schedule.
And they just drop it.
It's going to be once a month. You don't know when. But I think it builds hype.
Yeah.
Actually, it's actually really smart.
For sure. And I think if you do it right, like my side of things is I would love to actually have a schedule, and I think it would help my channel for sure. But I just know me as a human right now is something that like I can't maintain, so I don't want to get people's hopes up, because I feel like they would be more pissed off if I just completely undelivered every single week than the opposite of like, okay guys, I'm gonna post a video when I can. Like last week I posted 5 videos.
I watched all of them.
Thank you,
because of the hype, and I wanted to see The Office.
Office Tour, guys, is now live on my channel. 5 days of figuring out how to make my dream office.
Also loved the Office clips that you put in there.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I have such a love for The Office.
We
that I was like,
have similar
perfect
TV show.
Oh my gosh, Chuck
and The Office.
I feel like this could turn into like a Chuck podcast instantly.
I'm
good. So obsessed with Chuck. If you guys need a spy / sappy relationship show, Chuck. And whatever it's worth, I got so obsessed with that show and probably was like the loneliest.
Me too.
Me too. Forever. I was like, I need to find my Chuck.
Oh god.
And I did. So that's great, guys. Aww. So moving on from Discovery. So you took some nuggets from there, maybe like I bet it was a unique perspective to see how like a corporation runs different YouTube channels, right? Because I mean, like how many things were they juggling? I mean,
they had 4 different verticals, and under each vertical they had like 4 or 5 different shows.
Wow.
And then they had acquired a couple of years before I started SourceFed and Philip DeFranco.
Yeah.
So they were running all of that. Can you explain
to me the connection with SourceFed and Philip DeFranco?
Sure. So I'll give you the exact answer. Way back, YouTube had a round of funding for top creators.
Okay.
They gave them like X number of millions of dollars, or like a little bit less maybe, but it was around $1 million, to create their own original spin-off channel. So
Gotcha.
Phil created SourceFed with that money.
Oh.
And then Discovery decided to acquire his channel and SourceFed's channel like a year or two after SourceFed started.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was one of the first like YouTube original, like what now would be like a YouTube like almost Red show, but like way back. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, and I didn't know that YouTube still to this day funds Rhett and Link.
Yeah, they didn't for a long time.
Okay.
And now they're under YouTube Originals now.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and I mean, I can only imagine. Well, I'll bring it back to what was it like in those roles and working with people to where I feel like YouTube is kind of a loner thing, right, for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But you were making videos before that, just you and your friends, right? So was it kind of a struggle to hop in with a team of people and like, I don't know, different personalities that you're not used to, or maybe like there's, you know, age gaps or stuff like that? I mean, like what were some of the challenges that you faced in that? Because like right now, you know, I've been a loner my entire life in YouTube, and right now I'm like, I need so much help that like, I don't even know where to start, but I need to hire someone, you know? And I can't imagine working with like maybe 10 people to just figure out like one channel.
Yeah. There was a couple different like struggles. One of them was I know how to edit and I can shoot, like not a master at any of them, but enough to get around. And it was weird having an editor and like wanting to jump in and change something, but having to like write a note and then have them change it.
Did you ever do the over the shoulder thing?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Move that there, I'm sure
that was when like
that.
we had version 15 of a video and we're like, we have to upload this tomorrow. But it was amazing. And I think Discovery Digital, which used to be Rev3, they were one of the first like big media companies to have a digital department. So honestly, it was incredible to like.
You're kind of in the forefront of that stuff.
Yeah, and all these companies that have started video departments are like, I see them as little mirrors of what that was. But it was incredible to walk into an office of like, I think at its max it was like 90 people, and be like, well, they're all making YouTube videos.
Wow.
And there's like teams and meetings and like
about the YouTube.
Like it's so cool. But it was a lot of people from traditional media who were like, they knew how to produce stuff, but not stuff for digital. But it was a really interesting mix. Like it was like producers from digital, writers, a couple of people like myself who were like YouTube people that they had brought in. Katie Wayne, who was Boxy, worked there. It was like one of the OG. She was like a very OG like meme on the internet.
Oh wow!
But
what was
like,
her meme?
It was.
What an honor to be an OG meme.
Yeah, it was like a whole 4chan thing, and like it was actually not great, but
4chan.
I would say Google it because there's so much to it.
All right,
but,
Google it. Fam.
Yeah, it was really interesting though.
That's interesting. And so why it's fun for me to bring you on the podcast is like I feel like I always have a lot of people who are just in it in regards to editing, taking the pictures, like doing a lot of the nitty gritty creative work. But I think someone like you who is very creative but has landed in that producer role for a lot of things can be encouraging to a lot of people out there who maybe feel like their place isn't in front of a computer editing or isn't behind the camera, you know, doing stuff like that. And so in the beginning of Life Noggin, did you feel that pressure? Because like honestly, my first thing would be like, well, I guess I got to learn to animate. You know, so how did you go about that in the beginning? How did you find animators that you could trust to make good stuff? You know?
Well, I think the first thing is because there was such it was education and it was animation, which is like, I'm not a science writer. I don't know much about science. I've learned a lot now, but like back then I wasn't the person that was going to do the research, and we wanted to do it like quickly, so we like knew we had to bring on animators. I think like part of it was accepting like I can't do everything, and then looking back, I feel like I've kind of learned like my creativity is less coming up with like the initial idea, but I love working with creative people to help them achieve what they want to do. And whether that's like a standalone production that's a YouTube channel, I think a lot of times people come up with an idea, and that idea like they'll do every best practice in the world, but they're not looking like, is that video itself going to work on YouTube? And is that type of content? So
you get to kind of have that more how do I say it? Like you're from the outside looking in perspective.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things can benefit. Like I know my channel could benefit from me being more, okay, let's look at big picture. Let's look at the titles, collaborations I could do that could help me grow, when right now it's kind of like, oh, just catching up.
Right.
Which is like a place you never want to find yourself in.
Like honestly, helping a creative person come up with like a 5-year business plan sounds boring, but it's super fun to me, because I think like if you have that in mind from the first year, like you can really get somewhere cool. Like if your goal is to move on to TV, like, okay, well maybe they're not going to hire you, but how do we go in and pitch them instead of them trying to find you, stuff like that. But with the animators and bringing people on, it was just like so far from my skill set. And Pat's college roommate was an animator, so like he jumped on to do it.
Nice.
There's a big thing, I think, from like being a solo creator to then trusting other people to like help you make stuff. It's hard. It takes a lot.
Totally.
There's a lot of trust. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, were there any just terrible experiences where like someone just fell off, oh my gosh, we're not getting the video, or something where you were basically like, all right, like were there any moments just like this can't work? There was one where, because like it just got to a point where it was just stressful, because we were putting out these videos constantly. We hadn't missed a week. We didn't want to miss a week, type of thing. And our first animator, who is great, and I have absolutely nothing against, but one time we were in a crunch, and he made we had an episode about puberty. And he animated all of the puberty things that you would expect to see in like a puberty video, and he gave all of our characters parts. And we got the cut, and we were like, we can never upload this or put this anywhere. Wow. And that video just died. Oh my gosh, I would pay money to see that. I know. A little Blocko with an extra Blocko. Yeah. Little extra science for you. That is so funny. So yeah, I guess that's very much so a producer role, though, is you got to know when to let things die. Yeah, you really do. And you got to like, it's being Pat's a very creative person, and he like will go in on an idea because he wants to make that that come to life and make that art. And my job is to like enable him to be able to do that, but also anticipate how people are going to react to it and be like, we could do this, but if we just change this and put this there, then probably more people will see it. That's what I like to do. So yeah. What are some things that you do to encourage creators when they're maybe questioning everything, or they're in a slump, or like how do you show that support? Because I feel like a lot of like 40-year-old moms out there that want to get a restart in their career could be really good producers, because I feel like a lot of the job is like you just have creative ideas, you got to be a supportive individual and have patience. Yeah you know? I think you have to, like, if you're trying to like help produce like a creative person, you have to be like a funnel, because I think a lot of creative people are like idea, and if you're good enough at like being able to, almost like a creative director, where you can like pick out that one thing and be like, whoa, let's slow down and like work on this. I think like some of the struggles too is like that consistency on YouTube doesn't really foster like creativity. If you like one thing, like you got to make that like 200 times so you can find more people that like that one thing. So having like a producing partner, like they can kind of help keep things I like that together. Yeah, a funnel, yeah. Who out there is making daily vlogs that shouldn't be making daily vlogs, and you need to be someone's funnel? It goes back to that thing of Gary Vee. I always say, Gary Vee says this, but it's like you could try to be a CEO, but you might be the best number 2 or number 3 to a huge company. Yeah. And you could be missing out on amazing things. Also, like, don't be afraid to pivot, because so many people, in the words of Ross from Friends, pivot. So many people are like locked in. They've been trying to do one thing for 4 years. And then I've watched them over the last 11 years on YouTube, and they'll just do like, they're going to try one other type of video, and boom, all that knowledge and like experience that they've gone on to making that one vlogs, all of a sudden they start a cooking channel, and boom, they explode. Like Justine is like someone who's like pivoted constantly, and now she's better than ever. Doing it, and she keeps doing it, which is so cool. And I think it's to also be confident in who you are as a creative person, to be like, you know what, I'm going to try cooking, I'm going to try travel vlogs, I'm still going to do tech, and some of it's going to pop, but maybe some of it's just for me, and that's what's going to keep me sane as a creator on this platform. Yeah. And I think that is, in any job that you have, especially in creativity, the world is changing so quick, and you have to know when it's the time to just keep steady and keep doing your thing, but when it is the time to pivot. I mean, channels are being run into the ground right now.
Yeah.
And if you don't get out, it's scary.
There is no retirement plan for YouTube.
Oh, no.
And some of the biggest ways that people find financial security is either selling or starting something that's similar. Launching merch, launching a sub brand,
And that's the thing with all of this YouTube stuff, is you have to be a very nimble human being. You have to be very diverse with your revenue stream. And I think it's cool to see a lot of people who are out there killing it. And it's unique with merch is I feel like have you guys played around with merch at all?
We actually just launched a merch line.
Congrats.
Thank
oh my gosh,
you.
plug it.
It's keeponthinking.co.
Love it.
And it is science inspired merch, but it's not so much a logo on a t-shirt as we have oversized sweatshirts that have planets embroidered in them. So more lifestyle.
Embroidered?
Yeah. More that lifestyle kind of vibe.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
There was a talk I was listening to at this convention where it's all the different ways that creators are making money, and it's brand deals, I think, are the biggest for a lot of people. AdSense still brings in a lot for a lot of people, but it's it really is now. Also start a clothing line, start a Patreon, do a lot of.
There's so many things.
There's so many things you can do. Yeah.
And I think it's important too. That's something I've been experimenting with when things are good in one section of your revenue. Say you have maybe 4 different streams. If things are good in one place, that's when it's time to experiment in other places.
And it's
right?
hard.
And it's hard because you're
yeah.
oh, this is good. This is fine. I'm chilling. But it's in times when that dries up is it's going to be too late to start something else, right? So it's you got to constantly be, okay, so this is good right now. Maybe I should dabble in some merch. Maybe I should dabble in a membership service of some sort. So I think there's a lot of people out there who are willing to pay for knowledge. Screw college. You just go buy a $200 course and be fine.
Yeah, go watch 200 YouTube videos.
Exactly. So many people put out stuff for free,
Yeah.
And it's smart on their part because they get attention, but then also you as the audience, you get to learn for free.
Yeah.
In the words of Ty Lopez, knowledge. Knowledge.
I saw him once.
No, you did not.
Yeah,
Where?
at a diner. And I turned around. We were walking out, and I turned around, and I was very tired because I've been editing for hours.
Yeah.
And I yelled, "Is that Ty Lopez?" Just cuz. And then he looked at me and was because he thought it I knew him, and then he realized I was a strange man yelling his name, and then was went back. For the audio listeners, he looked excited, and then he looked very not excited. Anyways.
Oh my god, that is so funny. Honestly, so. Have I shared this before? Oh yeah, I made a little vlog on it. But I went to a Ty Lopez influencer party.
Really?
I've never hated anything more in my life than those 20 minutes that I was there.
Yeah.
I was so fish out of water and also the things that I heard, just the things that I heard there were so disturbing. Was it his brother-in-law or his brother or something, who's one of his biggest business partners. Just the way he was talking about the models and the water who are floating around on the things or whatever. Just very very what's the word? Misogynist type vibes. Yeah. And I was bruh. Yeah. Those people on those floaties in the pool probably have 100 times more followers than you. 1,000 times more. Oh, They're
also just people too.
Exactly. Yeah. That's true. Do you love how I went to the complete?
But you're right. You're not wrong. But they're also just
it's amazing that even those women who are the models, maybe they're kind of more bimbo-ish, whatever, but those could be the fitness influencers. Those could be the people with 2 million followers. They're obviously here for a reason. You're over here just shit talking them because they have big boobs and they must be idiots. Yeah. I'm
it's so interesting.
I couldn't roll my eyes back in my head far enough.
It's so interesting to watch what digital media has liked from traditional media and tried to pull over into their in their world. That's not some. I mean, that's ad websites and traffic and that side of things. But I've been to some weird YouTube like VidCon parties where it was like, there's mermaids, there's Oompa Loompas. There was a woman that was like paid to stand like a tree. It was very weird. And I was like, where am I?
Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, it was like someone put like things they had seen at a party into a hat and then like pulled it out randomly and just tired those things. It was sponsored by Tesla. It was really weird.
SpawnCon by Tesla?
Yeah.
Crazy YouTube rager? Oh,
Drama?
that's insane. Yeah. Clickbait
weird.
that ish. That's actually very interesting. I feel like YouTube parties are like an entirely different conversation, but I think like any parties, they could either be like insanely lame or really cool and you get to meet people. But you've been around the YouTube community for a while, you know, and there's that it's unique because you go to conferences, you go to these parties, and there's a certain persona that YouTubers put online that maybe they're not the same, you know, in person, you know. So talk about kind of like, you know, YouTube's great because oh my gosh, it's enabled our dream jobs. We've met amazing people, but have you kind of experienced, I mean, you don't drop names or anything, but like, have you experienced kind of a darker side of it, of just people, whether it's YouTube that's directly affecting their sanity or it's the actual business where maybe it is more artificial, is that the right word? Just more based on like the outside, right? I mean, like luckily you're doing animation, so it's not reliant on your like direct personality or your face, so there's not that pressure. But have you experienced any of that in kind of the world that you've experienced? Yeah,
I mean, there are some people that are like, I feel like people who started earlier on, and maybe this is just biased, when I've met them in person, a lot of them times they've been really genuine because what they were doing when they first started out was weird. And it like wasn't a cool thing to be making videos and to be putting them up. And a lot of those people I think are like happy to be there. Are just happy to be there. And maybe that's changed now, but like back then. And then I think there's people that like are trying so hard to be those people, but they're not there yet. And so they're acting like they're better than you to be there, but like no one knows who they are. But that's the mentality. Like that's how you have to like present yourself if you want to like be cool in a lot of people's eyes. I think VidCon is a very interesting like conversion of that.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Every time I leave with something like a new revelation of the YouTube landscape.
I mean, I one person, like I just introduced myself to someone I was standing next to randomly because we were waiting in line for a long time. And I was like, hey, I'm Ian. What's your name? What's your channel? And they're like, you don't know who I am? And I was like legitimately that.
No.
And I was like, no. I don't. And like now.
And what, did he have like 300,000 subscribers? And then you were like, hi, I have a channel with 2 million?
No, he had like 12,000 subscribers. And
no.
And I wasn't even like, I mean, I was upset, but I wasn't angry. No. I was just like, I don't know how you can like think that, like, I just legitimately don't know how you can think people know who you are.
Did that conversation go anywhere?
No, I just kind of walked away.
Yeah. But, like, did you look him up on the spot though? Yeah. And you just got, okay.
I was like, oh, okay.
Bye, dude.
Cool. Yeah.
You should check out my channel.
Yeah. It was weird. And then I've seen like recent years, like there's a lot of younger kids that have blown up. And they have like managers, and so like when they have a problem at VidCon or at a party or something like that, or someone like looks at them the wrong way, they'll be like, an 8-year-old's like, you gotta talk to my man, like I will get my manager right now. I'm just like, what is happening? Oh, someone bumped into someone at a VidCon like party, and the kid was like, how dare you? I'm like, it was crazy.
Oh, that's kind of the worst, man. Yeah. It's
but then there's people that genuinely love what they do that are also there, but everybody's in the same spot.
You know what's interesting? I think it's the people who get a little taste of it that aren't even big that have the biggest ego trip. Like you were saying, you brought up Justine as well. She genuinely is one of the nicest people I have ever met. Like, I thought, like, there is no way if I reach out to her, she's going to want to do something. No way. Yeah. And then we just started interacting back and forth on Twitter, and she actually asked me first, like, hey, would you want to, like, shoot something like this? Like, oh, my God. Yeah. What? And then when we first met, she was just, like, such a normal, sweet person. And I was like, you out of everyone have every reason to be above it all. Yeah. Right? And so it is weird when the people who have maybe just a taste or the smaller following, or maybe they've grown up with social media, so they have a different perspective of it. It's nice people, just be nice.
I think you go into it differently too. You know, like when there was after Discovery, I ended up I transferred to work for SourceFed, and Phil DeFranco was also in that office. So I met like all of those people who I'd grown up watching and then was working for.
That's cool.
And
he seems nice.
Yeah, they were really like, they were who they were online, and like super genuine, super funny people. Like it was a really cool experience to like meet people like that. And I think all of them went into that wanting to be performers, comedians. A lot of people that started out early on YouTube, people like yourself, were filmmakers, were musicians, were artists, and they wanted to use YouTube to share that. Like, you don't need someone's permission.
Having an actual artistry,
right?
Even if it's like quilting,
right?
It's, you know, having something that you're talented at or curious about, and so you get to show that journey. That's what's interesting.
If you want a documentary series, make it. Don't wait for a boardroom of people to decide that you
they will pick it apart,
right?
You gotta do you,
right?
Bows, you know.
But now there's a lot of people that are in YouTube for the celebrity of it, for the fame of it, and I think those people have a hard time like comparing against the other people's, because when you get down to it, I don't know if the substance is there as much.
And you know what's so funny about being YouTube famous? It's like, it's not even like mainstream fame.
No.
The only people who are mainstream famous from YouTube are like the ones who get into scandals, like the Logan Pauls of the world, you know? And it's like, okay, you want to be that famous? Nah, you know? And I actually want to, so you're the person who I would love to publicly talk about. Hopefully you've seen it, but have you been watching Shane Jake Paul documentary?
Yes,
okay.
I have.
I kind of want to.
I didn't see the one today.
I haven't either.
Okay, cool.
I haven't either.
Same page.
So I'm sure if you're listening, you're aware of this, but Shane Dawson, huge YouTuber, 18 million subs. He's been doing these series on different YouTubers and kind of going into either something dramatic that happened with TanaCon and Tana Mojo, or maybe exploring, a life of a big YouTuber. Her YouTube channel's dying. Let's explore this and go to her house and talk to her. And so his recent adventure, it's funny that I'm explaining this and probably everyone knows, but I had to explain it to Jeannie, my mom.
And my mom.
Yeah. So if there's any moms out here, here you go. Jake Paul is, kind of the worst, but he's just a young kid out there hustling in the Hollywood Hills. He has a huge demographic of 18 to 14-year-old kiddos, and he's all about the buy my merch, let's go do crazy stuff and light stuff on fire, and like that's him, right? And him and his brother Logan Paul have had a lot of scandals and bad things that have been attached to their name recently. So Shane Dawson is exploring that, and he's also exploring the question: is Jake a sociopath? Yeah. What are your thoughts of Shane taking that angle too? Because I thought it was interesting, and the fact that he didn't put Jake in it until episode 5 of an 8-part series. Yeah.
So I have a lot of thoughts.
I want to hear
Jake
your
Paul
thoughts.
And Shane Dawson.
Yes.
The series itself, I think like what he's doing and the episodes that have just come out where Jake's actually in it, I really, really like. It's super interesting. I'm from a short form education channel, so 2 40-minute things on that was a lot for me to watch, to be honest. And I think a lot of people. And I think that like when you're talking about mental illness and like just mental conditions, things like that, there's a very specific way you should go about it. Having Katie in it was great, and I think like that, if that hadn't have happened, it would have been too weird. But I also felt like from a documentary standpoint, we should have gotten to where we are now with actually seeing Jake a little bit faster. It is an interesting angle. I don't think that he is.
You know who I think is, which I think honestly Shane is getting at it, or he's subtly hinting. I think Logan is 100% the sociopath, because okay, guys, I'm just telling this to my podcast audience. There was a time where John and I watched Logan Paul every single day when he posted a vlog.
Okay, I did too, and I think it was around the same time.
Every single day.
Yeah, because okay. Sarah, I have so many. They did so many things subtly that no one ever tried to do before. Plugging merch the way they do it is so annoying. But they move millions of dollars in merch. Yeah. And I remember a time on YouTube where if you mentioned to subscribe before the end of the video, you're
blasphemy.
What are you doing? And they can plug their merch like 5 times and their fan base doesn't care.
Exactly.
I care, but their fan base. Yeah.
And honestly, that was pretty unheard of.
Yeah.
And then you have people, even I'll do it sometimes in my video, if something cool happens 2 minutes in, oh my gosh, make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. You know, because who knows how often people are on your video.
Right.
So it's that idea of, okay, if this kid is only on this video for 3 minutes, at least he's going to buy my merch at least once.
Right.
Which is so fascinating.
I don't think it makes like a super entertaining video, but I think as a YouTube video just on its own, it's fascinating that the way they've done that.
At the same time, especially with Logan though, the level of energy that he has and that his vlog also has with the camera cuts and the fast-paced movement, just him being insane. It's like, it's this whole different level of vlogs, right? That I think, I don't know, maybe it's just for like the kiddos that are ADD and that's the only way that he can keep their attention. But it was working on me.
Yeah,
sometimes
me too.
it would get annoying, but I mean, like when he, you know, bought his new house, he was doing crazy-ish and like, it's almost like you were seeing this journey happen before your eyes, which was really interesting. But yeah, he was annoying. But the thing with him and the thing that Katie, is she a psychiatrist? What is she? Therapist?
She's a licensed therapist.
Okay, so she's a therapist, and she was giving context of, is Jake a sociopath? Here are the tendencies. The biggest thing about being a sociopath is like you have to be likable. Logan's so likable.
Yeah.
I mean, pre-suicide Forest, of course.
Right.
But like, still to this day, I'll watch video like post-suicide Forest.
Yeah.
Again, guys, don't tell anyone. This is the podcast bubble, okay?
I will watch it just to see like has
like,
anything
what is
changed?
he up to? Yeah.
Like, and it's like, no, it hasn't.
And Jake isn't likable.
That's the thing is
he's
like
not
the rest
likable.
of the family, and I mean, I don't want to like judge someone's family, but the rest of the family, like I don't
we
like
can
them.
judge.
I wouldn't
Only
hang out
15,000
with,
people
I
are
wouldn't
listening.
want
That's not 20 million.
I wouldn't want to hang out with those people.
Oh no!
No way. No way.
Their dad seems like a terrible human being.
Like
a straight up
terrifying.
awful. Oh yeah. I would not want to be
gosh.
around that dude, man.
But what Jake did, in a lot of ways, reminds me of MCNs with Team 10.
Yes.
In a
interesting,
different way, but a lot
What
of
is an MCN for people who don't know?
MCN is a multi-channel network. It's essentially a management company for YouTubers.
But they don't manage you.
But they don't manage you. They partner your channel, and in exchange for being part of their network, you get certain perks, and they get a percentage of the revenue that you make. They had a terrible rap way back when they first started because there was nobody really looking at what they were doing, and they partnered tens of thousands of channels. I think the biggest MCN had 80,000 channels, taking like an insane split, and they gave them automated services, so they weren't really doing anything for them. MCNs haven't gotten much. They've gotten better, but not much better.
Oh well, and they're falling apart before our eyes.
Yeah.
So.
But their standard deal for MCNs was a 30-70 split on revenue, and that's what it sounds like Jake's taking from these people. And it's like he's created a way to like blow channels up as if he's an MCN.
Right. But see, I think that's what's unique about Jake though, is he's able to blow them up.
Right.
MCNs didn't blow up your channel.
Right.
They had no influence.
Exactly.
They came from the business perspective and said, oh, we can do XYZ for you, but guess what? We're actually not going to do that for you.
And from that perspective, what he's done is like incredible. And I actually don't understand the outrage of him taking 30%.
Me neither. I think it's 20 as well.
Is it 20?
Yeah, I think it's 20%.
Because he takes people from literally
these people wouldn't be anything
2 million.
without him.
You know, that's worth a lot of money.
It's worth all the money in the world, because honestly, that's like not attainable any other way.
Right.
You can't buy. I mean, you can buy. Honestly, I feel like it's harder on YouTube to buy views and stuff, but even doing that, you can't buy real engagement when you're attached to Team 10.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is a passionate group of 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know,
they're ready to launch on
they're
whatever.
They're going to cop that merch.
Yeah.
With their mom's credit card, you know?
Yeah. So I wanted the series to, but maybe just more on the business side of things. I wanted the series to talk a bit more about that. Maybe they will. But I would say it is incredible to see what someone's built off of YouTube. Like I get excited, because like I watch your channel explode, but also I get so excited when you do your office videos, because I'm like, that's a cool office. There's a neon peach, right?
Hey, yeah,
and then
stepping it up.
In the same world, Jake Paul has 10 cars and a mansion and like Lego rooms and like
from YouTube.
Yeah. That is really crazy to see.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, in a way, it is inspiring, which is so crazy, you know? And even Shane's series on Jeffree Star, I think that's what made that one so good, was he really went the behind the scenes of, you know, his business. And like, of course, Shane did his thing and like overreact, like, oh, what? Right. Oh, this is so crazy. But seeing Jeffree's factory and like the behind the scenes and stuff, like that was pretty sick. So I'm with you as well. And the fact that you said, I didn't know a new episode dropped today, so that's exciting. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing later.
Watch it on the plane.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm with you. I feel like it needed to be more Jake very quickly. And Shane is changing the game in regards to like format and like long form stuff, which is exciting. But it's funny to hear people like, he's a documentary filmmaker genius. I'm like, it's literally one camera that's like really sloppy pans, but I guess that attributes to the overall style, right? And the rawness of it.
I think it's its own, like, it's not its own genre, but it's definitely a different take in the genre. I would not call it journalism. And I think a lot of people are, and that's where I disagree with a lot of people. I definitely think it's interesting. To pull 20 million on a 40-minute video.
Exactly. I think it's entertainment journalism. Right? It's the illusion that, oh my gosh, he's doing all of this research and all of these things, but really he's just reacting to everything that's being put in front of him. What's next?
For
in
me?
Life. In life? So you have Life Noggin. You know, are there certain hopes and dreams for Life Noggin?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Life Noggin and with everything we've kind of created so far, is we found this niche on YouTube of animation, and we really want to help.
It's a fascinating world.
It is, and it's growing, and we really want to help other animated channels grow. So we're working on like some partnerships with people to like, because animation takes a long time and it's expensive, to try to like take what we've learned doing animation for the last 4 years and help people grow. So Life Noggin has an umbrella company now, which we created called Next Up Studios. And so we're working with animation channels and trying to create our own original content, and having like essentially like a YouTube animation studio.
That's exciting.
Which is, it's been a lot of fun to build. And then, personally, would love
You're
to.
22, Ian, tell me, like, you need to be doing more.
I do.
That's sarcasm.
But I do.
That's sarcasm.
I do need to be. I feel like I need to be doing more.
I guess that's the rat race that we're in, right? It's like more. And if you don't enjoy that process, then you're screwed, because you're going to be hella depressed. And I think that's why so many people are depressed. Like, I'm not making that I'm not trying to dilute people who have depression. No, like, it's serious, but the space that we're in, that's why people are so prone, I think, to depression, is it's so up and down. You're not guaranteed anything. You're always expected to be on to the next thing the moment you do anything.
Like, that success and failure of a video, still very much, like, if our video doesn't hit what it normally hits, like, I feel bad about myself.
100%.
And I should not,
and
but I do.
It's not personally attached to you, but you feel like it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's a representation of me, which is so weird. I mean, post, like, beyond Life Noggin, like, what we did, where we made a documentary, and it was like a 9-month process. We a start and a finish.
Can people get that on Vimeo still? Or it's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, yeah.
Okay, it's linked in the description below.
Or it's there, I want to do more stuff like that. And I really want to, like, take what I've learned working at all these different places and with Life Noggin and just help people with cool ideas succeed on the internet.
Oh, that's super inspiring.
I don't know how to do that yet, but that's part of the fun. What I'm going to figure out.
Right?
Yeah.
And what's some advice to people out there that aren't the traditional creatives, you know, but they know they have stories to tell and they want to get it out there? Like, what's some advice on, like, just doing it, or how they can partner up with the right people to make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first thing is, like, it will never hurt you to just try it in some way. Even if it doesn't work, you'll learn something from it. So maybe you want to shoot, like, a documentary that you have in your mind on Reds, and you can't do it right now, but maybe you can do, like, a Gimlet Media podcast style where you just do the audio version of that or whatever. Like, there's usually some way that you can get your story out there. And there's also
so many different mediums.
Yeah. I mean, you have your iPhone. Like, everybody says that, but, like,
You can do video, audio, and photo.
Whatever,
like
you know?
any, yeah.
If you don't have an iPhone, find a friend with an iPhone. That's your partner, and
phone a friend.
Make stuff. Yeah, literally phone a friend.
Yeah, but you can't phone them if you don't have an iPhone to begin with, I guess.
You can have a flip phone, I guess. Don't film on an Android.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Note 9 is great, guys. If you're an Android person,
I just want to piss off your whole audience.
Exactly. Who knows what tech audiences are nowadays?
That's
true.
true.
It's exhausting. You'll say something good about no, you know what? Actually, I'll take that back. You say anything good about the iPhone, that's when you get crap.
Yeah.
If you say anything good about an Android phone, you'll get no crap.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So I take it you feel like you've built like a foundation on YouTube. I'm just curious, like, because how long ago was it that your channel was like blowing up? It was like 3 years ago?
February of 2016.
Okay. Wow. So that was like, I mean, that was pretty recent. Do you feel like, how long did it take to feel like you have like a foundation to then like go on to a next thing?
Right.
Or not even a next thing, but like the next level of creation.
Honestly, I feel like I'm feeling that right now.
Yeah.
And the Adobe Creative Residency really helped me with that. And when I had a year to just create and not have to worry about a salary or money coming in, or they gave me a salary.
Yeah.
That was the time where I was like, it's time to lay this foundation. And that year is when I didn't sleep that much. I was so confused. Like, I really didn't have my ish together, to be honest, underneath the Adobe Residency program. However, I think the purpose of that program is for you to experiment and do everything you possibly can. Yeah. And that's what I did. So like, I was a very tired human.
I remember when we shot, you were like, it was the night before we were going to shoot, and you were like in my living room, which was covered in ants for some reason.
Yeah, that was gross.
That was awful. Yeah. And like editing at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And like now you have an office and a studio and like this great launching pad.
That was hustle mode. That was like, after college, or when I was in college, after college, Adobe Residency, all of that was in tandem the hustle part of my life. I still hustle. I still get it. But guess what? I sleep 7 to 8 hours almost every single night, Ian. I've because I had such a that chunk of time to really figure out things and to do it, and I am so grateful to the residency for making it happen, that now I'm like, okay, put my health first. Honestly, guys, if you can put your health first from the beginning, do it. I mean, it's gonna be better, but I think there's a time and place when you really have to go heads down, and you got to figure it out. So I think coming out of the residency, after experimenting, I had to then figure out what my thing was. And I think in the past year I have, and I think now I'm at a place where I need to just focus on growth now. Like, I'm a confident I'm confident in what I create now, right? So now it's figuring out, okay, what are my other verticals, and how can I still share what I'm doing in a meaningful way to my to my audience. And the podcast has been so fun to me, but like, I haven't monetized it at all yet. So now that's like almost 40 episodes in. I'm like, maybe I should think about this, think about the business plan of it.
And I think that's a great, like, for people starting out, like, that's a great goal, because I think it's very daunting to look at everybody and be like, well, I don't have 1 million subscribers, and like, I'm not hitting what these other people are hitting. But if you can just find something that you're passionate about and you feel like you can do repeatedly, and be like that base, you can't build without that base.
And it's so important, right? So Ian, this has been so fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to reveal your age to the internet, to talk YouTube with you. And where can people find you? So obviously youtube.com/Life Noggin.
Yep.
And then like personal Instagram.
Yeah, honestly, Instagram is where I'm the most active. Cool. It doesn't look like I'm active, but I'm active in stories, not in the thing, but it's just at Ian Dokie, my name.
Stories are life.
Yeah.
I love Insta stories so much.
I can't handle Twitter anymore, so.
Really? Yeah. It's gotten so political.
Yeah.
Today I watched a clip of Kanye West and him talking about how the president needs to travel in the most fly style ever, since he represents our country. In that moment today, I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to be on Twitter less.
Or maybe it's like 80 kittens are missing. And then it's like,
oh,
why? Why is that the first thing? I used to log in and be like, wow, my friend just uploaded a video, and like, wow, they got a new dog. And
or
now it's
wow,
like,
a cute kitten. Yeah. But now it's shifted to all the kittens are missing.
Yeah.
and then the mice are gonna come back.
And then that's full circle.
And then that's what we call callback, kids, and that's where we're gonna end the podcast. Ian, thank you so much for being on. Everyone, make sure to check out another episode. We do these every single Monday. If you haven't caught up, there's been a lot of good people. We got Exploring with Josh. 2 million subscribers, and he explores abandoned places. Do you know who he is?
No.
He makes next level stuff. We had Sorrel Amore, yes, on the podcast. She has blown up recently, and she's a really good person to listen to. So I'm going to leave some of those episodes down in the show notes.
I listened to you and Jack in the car on the way here.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys had like a great podcast.
It was a good energy. So Jack Conti, he's the CEO of Patreon, did one with him. All right, Ian, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Stay peachy.